So today I'm going to talk to you guys about the journey that my Opa Heinz took to get to America through the immigration process and how my family went from being nobody to starting their own business. To begin, it started off in Hamburg, Germany, where he was born in 1915. After growing up in Germany for his childhood, he moved to South Africa after he had completed college to work on a railway to help get the crop to market faster in Germany. After working in South Africa for multiple years, World War II then broke out, and he was drafted into the German army and was forced into it without a choice. He was then captured by the French after a grenade had struck him by a French soldier. Luckily, he spoke French because he spoke 5 languages, and this was one of the best things that could have ever happened to him because what it allowed him to do was it allowed him to convince the French soldiers that he was not a threat to anyone, and it allowed him to be free of Europe, and he was able to move to South America after this. After being in South America for a couple years in Brazil, my grandfather then looked at the newspaper and saw my grandma in a newspaper ad and decided to move to Argentina to find her. She was a nurse at the time. And after being on the farm together for a while, they both decided that Argentina and South America was not the place that they really wanted to raise a family. So they decided to move to Texas. They reached out to an old college friend that my grandfather knew, and he was able to sponsor them to the United States. So they packed up their bags and then traveled to Longview, Texas. There, he was working for 37 cents an hour, and this was to pay back the $3,000 sponsorship. A shower there was an old Folgers coffee can with nail holes in it and a garden hose rolled in the field to heat up in the daytime. Surely there must have been better conditions and better pay in the United States that they were both looking for. He then reached out to a cousin in San Francisco, and that cousin said he could get him a job in a steel mill at $2.50 an hour, which was quite the pay raise from 37 cents an hour. So what my grandfather decided to do was he got on a Greyhound bus to take to San Francisco to try and get out of poverty. He arrived in California and wanted to stretch his legs, but once he got off the bus in Lafayette, California, the bus driver took off without him, leaving him with nothing. His luggage was on the bus still, and it was off to San Francisco. A veterinarian, though, across the street, was nice enough to offer him a place to spend the night if he was able to tend the barn animals that were in the hospital for the night. And he decided to do that, and then the next day, the bus driver stopped and dropped off his luggage. He was then able to find other people in the area, and they decided to carpool back to San Francisco for him to work in the steel mill. He did this for around a half a year before he was able to make enough money, and he decided that he wanted to make more money and do other stuff on the weekends. So what he did was he became a gardener on the weekends, and the church that he was attending was able to help him out with any of the needs that he needed. After doing this on the weekends for multiple months, he was then able to send for my grandma back in Texas for her to come back, and he was able to pay off the sponsorship that he owed. After doing this for multiple years, he was able to get on his feet, and he was able to make enough money to start his own company. He then took this idea of sponsoring people into the United States to a whole new level. He would sponsor people to come to the United States, and then they would work for him in his company and pay him back eventually. So he wasn't losing really any money. He was able to have a workforce to help his company, Lafayette Tree and Landscape, thrive. By doing this, he was able to make a living for himself and do well, especially since he had been a prisoner of war. With the odds against him, he showed me what perseverance looks like and never to give up. He showed me that the American dream is still alive today.